Welcome to Tomorrow Makers, where we explore how we learn, live, work, and play now and in the future. I'm Summer Beatty.
And I'm Carlos Ramos. And we still haven't recorded that little bit to just be the thing that we always have at the beginning.
No, we like to keep it real, though. We're authentic. We're Penn College.
We do. This is a no AI podcast. Yeah.
So far.
We'll let you know if that ever changes.
We will never be AI, I don't think.
No.
We might be now. We don't even know it.
Oh, my gosh. So we're coming off a winter break.
We are.
How was yours?
It was awesome. Feeling good about the next semester and energized and ready to go.
Do anything fun?
Yeah.
You're always doing fun things.
We try. Stay busy. Some skiing, some family stuff, some running and hiking and outdoors.
So more of the same.
Just more of the same.
A lot more of it.
More concentrated. Some reading and good balance. How about you?
Yeah, all the same. A lot of reading. I forgot how much reading that I hadn't done before break. I'm like just knocking out books. Can't remember anything now because I read too much.
I just got through one big one. So it was nice. It was the day, it was due at the library here on campus the day we got back. So it was this rush, but it felt like a perfect literal and metaphorical close of the break, ready to go. I'm done with this book. So yeah.
Great. All right. So we are now in season 4.
We are.
And those of you who are astute would be like, well, what happened to season 3? Well, we changed our minds about how we actually number these podcasts. So if you do follow the episode numbers, they don't mean anything before.
They do. So we have one season per semester. So it just allows us to be, present more organized, I guess. We're very organized behind the scenes, but maybe we will do something fun where we have a theme in the future, or who knows? I'm just throwing out ideas. Carlos is like, what? Maybe, make all the covers the same color or something. I don't know.
Oh,
there's just lots of, it just makes sense.
Okay.
Right. So here we are. So season 4, we've got a lot of awesome guests coming up. I will say that.
What do we got?
So we've got representatives from student success. We've got a student leader coming, someone from workforce development. And, if you're out there and you're thinking, boy, I wish they would talk to this person, or I would like to be on the podcast, reach out at podcast@pct.edu.
That's how we get a lot of our guests. In fact, the student leader we've got coming up, not this episode, but a future episode, he reached out and said, hey, you need to have more students on, without nominating himself until like the 3rd email back and forth.
And he was
awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah, stay tuned for that for sure.
So what else is going on this semester?
Oh, I think we teased this a little bit. Our spicy take that's coming up here.
Yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah. So there's a show that apparently is popular on YouTube called...
Yeah, you're allowed to say it.
So Hot Ones. And so we did a little spinoff of that called Wild Ones, because we are on Penn College campus. And despite me not answering the email invitations to be a guest, I somehow ended up on the show. But it was very fun. So,
yeah, because we see the show and it's like, well, they're making these hot sauces. They're making people eat them, having fun, interviewing. It's like, and our social media specialist, he's like, I'd like to do this. And I'm like, okay, we'll try something if it's within reason. We have a culinary program here. Why don't we see if they'll make the sauces? And they're like, yes. We have a graphic design program here. Do you mind designing the bottles? And they're like, yes.
I was bringing back all these memories. Those sauces were actually really good. So kudos to whoever did those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're actually the very first episode. That is going to drop on Tuesday, the 20th of January, 2025, if you're listening to this really late. So it's already out there.
Check it out. I've not seen it yet, but it sure was fun. So I hope you enjoy that. Hey, and if you're out there not doing anything, you could give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, it's award season. We got all these awards going on. And I really wanted to say, hey, we've got this 5-star podcast, because we do have this 5-star podcast.
Yes, please give us a few stars.
Yeah.
We'd
5.
love it.
5.
5 stars. You can do it.
Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
I did it this morning. It takes 1 second to go in and hit 5 stars.
Okay.
Takes a second. To
I
also
already
do 4
did it,
stars,
so. So we know we have 2 5-star ratings. I don't know. Come on, help us out.
All right, so let's get into this podcast. And who do we have today?
We have Nate Lyon.
Nate Lyon.
Yes. And if you're associated with the Penn College community at all and have been awake for the past 5 years, you know who Nate Lyon is. He's a welding engineering technology graduate from 2020. So he has an interesting pathway. Exited Penn College in the midst of the pandemic, and he is working at Milton Hershey School as an instructor, teaching welding.
It was so good to see him again here because he also helped us out a lot when he was a student here. So when we were doing some rebranding videos and shooting in the welding lab, he was kind of that poster child, kind of strutting down in between the bays. He owned the place. It was his shop.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of fun here too. So we were trying to dig up some old spots that he did where he got a little silly, and so we were threatening him that we might put them at the end of this. So if we can find them, check for that Easter egg.
Yeah, we can find that, or we can even add them to the podcast show page.
Yeah,
so
we'll do that.
Definitely,
that's a good idea.
All right, so without further ado, let's get into Nate Lyon on Tomorrow Makers.
Enjoy. We're here today with Nate Lyon. He is a graduate of the Welding and Fabrication Engineering Technology program, I think back in 2020. Does that sound right?
Graduated, yep, 2020.
Okay. And he is teaching at the Milton Hershey School. You are a welding trades teacher.
Yes, yep. Fancy verbiage. I teach welding. Teach kids how to weld. Teach problem solving via welding.
So you came to Penn College to study welding. Take us through that process. How did you find Penn College? Why did you choose Penn College?
I guess from a very young age, was very hands-on. Taking things apart, fixing things, inquisitive, right? Even about little wind-up toys when I was younger. And my dad especially kind of fostered that physical therapist with the mind of an engineer. And so, I grew up with that mindset. I ended up getting into welding because I wanted to make, I think it was a recumbent tricycle. And so I cut up a bunch of bicycles and had no idea how to put them back together. I was like, glue, bolts, like what?
What age are we at?
This is 6th grade. I think I was bought a Harbor Freight angle grinder and just started chopping things up. And a gentleman named Bill Johnson that went to my church growing up, he had me over to his shop and showed me how to weld. I think I still have some of those first welds that I made. But we did a little plasma cutting, welding, and I was kind of hooked on it. It was very interesting. Didn't really know that it would be, a career outlet. I didn't really think of it as a viable career for me. At one point, I remember Bill Johnson mentioning, hey, like you like the classroom. You're pretty good in that setting. You also like working with your hands. So maybe look into the 4-year degree in welding engineering. Which was the first time I'd heard of that. So I then Googled it and kind of started down this road. And Penn College was actually, I believe, was the only school that I visited. Because I think from like my sophomore year on, I knew I'm going to go for welding engineering. So very hands-on. And that's, I guess, what got me here, kept me here, because it's a hands-on school, right? A lot of like-minded people in that category.
So did you come for an open house?
Okay. I think I came for 2 or 3 open houses. And really loved getting to see the welding lab, and just the scale there, I think, is kind of daunting at first. And then you start to pick it apart and what the heck is this? And now it's double the size it was when I came for those open houses. So,
and that happened while you were here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Right when I was leaving. Actually, I didn't get to use the space a ton. I was part of it saw it getting built. But I'm jealous of the guys who get to run with the electron beam and the laser and the fabrication space. Like, that's pretty cool over there. But open houses for sure. And you got to meet the faculty and meet some of the students too. So took a lot of time up here to just kind of sit and soak it in, see if it could become my place, if you will.
And what was your experience like here as a student? From what I recall, you were involved in a lot of different activities on campus. Too many to name probably, but what are some of the highlights?
Yeah, I did work a couple jobs on campus, being the student ambassador and tutoring and that sort of thing. I would say that the most defining one, though, was getting involved with Cru, Campus Crusade for Christ. That became my group of people. And through that group, got to meet not only Penn College folks, but also Williamsport City folks who love Williamsport. And maybe you have a question about this, maybe getting ahead of myself. But I remember thinking, like, I want to be someone who loves Williamsport. And so I'm going to find the people that love Williamsport and hang out with them and like become, be part of that group. And Cru was how that happened. I got to meet a lot of awesome people who mentored me through college. Almost out of high school. Mentored me through college and got involved with City Church down on 4th Street and Pastor Raphael there and Joel Shibata. And there was a couple, the Shoners, that lived in town, and they would regularly host like 60 to 100 college students weekly at their house, and just got to meet so many people who really loved me and loved other college students, and through their eyes and through their experience got to get involved more in the city and start to really identify with this place.
Is that continuing? Do you know? Like, is that connection still continuing between Cru and the group at the City Church? Do you have any connections still now that you're gone?
Between me and
just
there,
generally, I'm curious. I know Cru is still very active on campus.
Yeah.
I didn't know if those students still have made that connection, or if you're in touch with anybody through Cru still, or
the list is getting shorter and shorter as far as students, because obviously every 2 or 4 years you have people graduating. But there's a few on campus still that I'll message when I'm up here. I imagine there's a lot of Cru students still going to City Church. I'm not sure.
Okay. I didn't know how connected you were still with that group. Or
I mean, my the guy who discipled me, Joel Shibata, I was just texting him today, like, hey, what are you up to? So we keep in touch.
Oh, that's really cool.
A lot of those people are invited to my wedding. So anyway.
I was thinking, as you're describing your relationship with Williamsport, just how important that is to love where you are, to be able to identify with where you are. What were you seeing from other students while they were here? Did you see that type of connection happening with those that ended up being more successful? Was there any correlation? Am I just making stuff up?
Yeah, I didn't run a study on it or anything.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, come on. Where's your RCT?
There were a lot of people that in kind of my circle, that were connected through City Church and things like that. Carlos, I would certainly say it's not mandatory. You can come to Penn College and be successful in your field and be fine and go out and make money or whatever you want to do. I think getting connected with the city and the location is kind of a next level thing, and it might not, maybe it reflected in the academics, but academics aren't everything, right?
It's all about building that community, though, right? And I feel like some of us need that more than others, or like desire that, you know what I mean? Like need that to thrive. So like you're saying, maybe there is that person that's just sort of cool being by themselves. But if you are somebody who wants that community, there are communities to connect to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not like a plug and play. This is the formula to love Williamsport, but I don't know. Something about being in a place, meeting the people who live there and loving it really makes an experience a lot richer than if I just come up here and go to class and go home every weekend. There is a sense of identifying with, dwelling among, right? That is really powerful. And I got to do that a lot. And it's a great thing. I wish everyone did get to experience that. I know not everyone will, but yeah, just getting to see the world through other people's eyes. Super cool.
And it didn't stop there. You're somebody who enjoys the outdoor spaces too. So you're not just, like loving Williamsport's not just meeting and loving the people, but it's the area where you're living.
100%. Yeah. I used to, when I was giving tours, one of the things I would share is like, you can look around you and be on top of a mountain in 4 miles in any direction. You can. And so I love the outdoor scene.
I believe we can see one of your camping spots from my window.
Yeah.
What? I don't know this.
Yeah.
Up top the power line.
Did Carolyn Strickland tell you that story? Is that how you know that?
I don't know. I don't know who I have to protect on this one.
It's not secret, I guess. Not anymore.
I wasn't sure if I liked backpacking. I didn't actually do any backpacking before coming to college. And so sometimes I would just pack a backpack and hike up the power line trail, which I'm not sure how legal that is. So, don't plead. I'm not pleading the fifth. I'm sharing everything. But I would camp up underneath the power lines up there.
The way I see it, the no trespassing signs are on a fence, right? And you don't actually go through the fence.
Are we talking about up Maynard Street or up the other power line?
Up Maynard Street, yeah.
Oh, you're definitely not allowed to do that.
Well, maybe not anymore, but I was here back in the day. So, I don't know. One morning I was up there.
I wasn't there the other day.
But I forget who it was that was. I think Carolyn Strickland was there, and she would tell the story. They were trail running or something up there, and I had been camping out in my hammock. It just popped up and man, seeing you all here. So it's just funny interaction. But yeah, but the Water Authority, that was like my second home during college. The Loyalsock Trail, awesome piece of wilderness up there.
What's your favorite part of the Loyalsock?
Oh my goodness, I was just talking about this earlier today. There is a campsite right outside of World's End State Park. I don't think you can camp in World's End. I'm not sure, but
not in World's End, but right outside you can.
Right outside. I think it's technically in like Forksville, and it overlooks. I'm not sure what creek that is, but it's right off of Coal Mine Road as you're driving up to World's End State Park, and you hike in onto the Loyalsock Trail. I think it's commonly used for maybe cross country skiing, that Coal Mine Road area. There's an overlook there where you can wake up and just see the creek and the fog and the valley, and the campsite's right on the overlook. So that's one of my favorite.
So you did go backpacking then?
Oh yeah. So after the power lines, that's when I really got into backpacking. Did the Loyalsock Trail, and then this kind of gets into how I got into teaching too. But I ended up working at a wilderness camp, a faith-based camp for boys up in the Adirondacks, and so I've just done a ton of backpacking up in the high peaks up there. Yeah, I love it now. I'm all about.
Your favorite Adirondack high peak?
Favorite high peak? Oh, man.
Have you done Colden via the Trap Dike?
No.
Okay.
Nope, have not done the Trap Dike. I love my life too much to but I do have two friends who got.
But there's something dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to look it up.
It's a sketchy route up the mountain. It's like a crack in the side of the mountain, and you can a big
and it's exposed, and it's super dangerous when it's raining and wet,
or snowy. I think.
Oh yeah,
a couple years ago,
you need ice, an axe. Yeah,
yeah. I have two friends who got stuck climbing the Trap Dike. No names mentioned here, but
did they need to be rescued? Helicopter? Oh, embarrassing. So that is a huge fear.
Hey, better embarrassed than dead, right?
Oh yeah, but still, I mean, we started up it with my family, and I have a 14-year-old son, and I saw the look in his eyes, and he was like, "I've gone as far as I can go." So we turned around and came back.
Good call.
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as I go when it's dry, I'm okay.
It's still highly dangerous, but there was a steady stream of water coming down when we were going up. There's a longer story embedded. There's more to later.
I'll have to get that on the side.
The probably Gothics though, to answer your question.
Okay.
I kind of have this not a love-hate relationship with Gothics, but I've done it 4 or 5 times. Kind of like a Captain Ahab, Moby Dick relationship where, I just keep going back. I had a camper almost fall off Gothics, and so that's kind of where that started. And then I've gone back to kind of conquer it again and just revisit it. So
okay, good. Yeah. I'll have to add that to my list. You were just to campus not too long ago with some students. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct.
Was that the first time you brought students here?
Yep.
From Milton Hershey School? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Now Milton Hershey's been bringing students for a number of years, but it was the first time that I got to come up.
Oh, what were those conversations like?
A lot of fun. Yeah. I took a group. We brought, I think, 30 or so kids up all together with a couple other teachers, and got to kind of split off with my welding crew, kids who've kind of focused on welding. And that was a ton of fun. I remember I said to them, I was like, hey, what do you want to see on campus? What are you interested in? Gave them the rundown of opportunities. And they all said, oh yeah, Mr. Lyon, this is your hood. Like, you show us what, where did you weld? Like, where's your dorm? And we didn't get over to residence life, but I got to show them the welding shop, and just kind of the look on their faces, seeing the scale of everything and getting to envision themselves in the welding booths maybe, or really fun in that regard. And then 2 of them got to operate a crane and float concrete and things like that. So really neat, really fun opportunities for them just to kind of apply in a practical way what they hear about in theory.
So what are the facilities like at Milton Hershey compared to here?
Fairly small as in terms of square footage.
Okay.
We are blessed with a lot of state-of-the-art equipment, but it's, 8 is my maximum class size. So I have 8 students in the shop, 8 welding booths, and we can do a lot with that space. Like, people always comment, oh, like, this is really small. And I'm like, hold up now. Like, we can do a lot here. Would I prefer it to be a little bigger? Yeah, for sure. But so when students came in and saw the Penn College welding shop, they're just blown away. Like, oh, Mr. Lyon, we need to get one of those. And I'm like, okay.
We need to get some donors, right?
Yeah. So just the scale is pretty impressive to them.
Okay. So you came to Penn College, you graduated, you worked in industry for a short bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I graduated in 2020. And if you're a historian, COVID was at about the time. Graduation looked a little different, a little funky. And then summer of 2020, I had worked up at camp up at Deerfoot, and then was slated to start working as an engineer down in York. Super stoked about that, working with my hands, working with people, and come to find out about 3 days before I started that I was going to be working remote. And for a lot of people, that's awesome. Family people, great, be home with their kids. But I was living alone, and my heart just sank. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could survive. So stuck that out for about a year and learned a ton. Really cool product, awesome team, awesome people. But I was just home looking at a computer screen, looking at blueprints. And I got to get in the shop a little bit, and that's where some of the highlights came from. But around 2021, things in life were changing, and I had the opportunity to go back up to Deerfoot Lodge, the camp up in the Adirondacks, and help to lead their counselor training program, just kind of a discipleship program for young guys, 17, 18 years old. And so I left my engineering job and went up to Deerfoot again. It's kind of a metaphysical, interesting, like, I thought I was on this track to being an adult and like being a man, right? And then almost wondering, like, am I as grown up as I thought I was? Being back at this wilderness camp, kind of feeling like a lost boy from Peter Pan, But through leading that program up at Deerfoot, that was probably the richest summer of my life. Got to lead a group of 19 kids, backpacking in the high peaks, canoeing, whitewater canoeing up in Maine. A lot of physical and spiritual, like, discipline and training. And like I said, just a super rich summer. And those guys that I led with, like, some dear, dear brothers to me still, and we hang out regularly. Through that, I kind of realized, like, maybe the people aspect that I love is more important than the actual content of what I'm doing. I had several moments that summer where I thought, gosh, this is what I was created to do. And so when I came back, I just jumped into substitute teaching down in York City with the hunch that maybe it was the teaching and not the specific content that really made it valuable and worthwhile for me. That turned out to be the case. Started subbing, and then started teaching adult ed night classes down at York Tech, and juggling both of those for a time. And then the opportunity came up to teach at Milton Hershey, and it was a cool way to combine both of those things that I've been doing into one career.
That's
there it
amazing.
is. There's a nutshell. a lot quicker than I would have envisioned,
Yeah.
So many people don't even find the purpose like that in life. And there you are,
Yeah.
just fresh out of college, and you're like, okay, let's go find that.
Right. And I'm not here to make a living. I'm here to make a life, and that's, I think, forget if that's Lecrae or Andy Mineo. Some rapper says that.
Great philosophers of their time.
Yeah, right, exactly. I knew I wanted to teach. Coming into college, I remember writing like scholarship essays about that. I knew I wanted to teach. I think I envisioned being in industry a little bit longer. To be candid, sometimes I look back and wonder what would be different if I had stayed in industry longer. But I'm good. I'm okay, And I like to go back during summers or, on trips with students.
So you do have the summers off. You have summers off. Okay,
Yep.
nice.
I'm not done with connection to industry. That's so important. Especially in a teaching role, you have to stay connected to industry, and the closer the better. So I'm all about working part-time or things like that as time allows.
So for people who might not know, can you talk a little bit about like the mission of Milton Hershey School?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So Milton Hershey School, if you want to learn more about it, you can find out more on the website, mhskids.org. Shameless plug there for our public relations team down there. But yeah, it's the goal of Milton Hershey School is to nurture and educate kids in social and financial need. Break it down in those two categories. One, maybe the other, sometimes both. But social and financial need to lead fulfilling and productive lives is kind of the wording from its founding in 1909, I believe. That's been the heart behind what Milton Hershey School does. It's a residential school. Students live there in student homes. And so they are living with a married couple as their house parents, right? And then senior year of high school, they move into transitional living, which is kind of aligned with a dorm style situation. So yeah, residential school, all costs covered. No one pays anything to go there. It's all funded through the Hershey Trust. The money that Milton Hershey and Catherine Hershey set aside in the mid 1900s and kind of locked it up with the deed of trust. And they said, you can't touch the principle of this. And so the school has been subsiding off of the money that has grown. So it's kind of snowballed and grown into this pretty big operation down there. Right now, I think there's just over 2,000 students.
So you see about 8 students each class period, or you have the same 8 students?
I teach 4 periods a day. And so about an hour long for each class and rotations of 8. So a different 8 students come roughly every hour, 70-minute periods. That's been an interesting challenge to, deposit meaningful information in that hour block of time. And then the transition time really is tough. You get in, you gear up, and then you start welding. And so it's kind of like a SWAT team, right? We got to get in and out and learn as much as we can while we're there.
Is that 5 days a week?
Right now, 2 of those groups are 5 days a week. And then I have another 2 periods that are every other day. It's just an introductory kind of dip your toes in elective course.
So are some of these kids ones who may actually go to college for welding, or it's just, okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's right now welding operates as an elective course down at Milton Hershey, not a full-fledged like career pathway, although that's in the cards for the near future. But even with that, I have 6 or 7, I think, still trying to get a read on what their thoughts might be. A handful of students who are really intrigued by it, and 3 who are looking at coming up here, have applied, a couple here, a couple Thaddeus Stevens, and a few who are heavily considering just going into the union, doing an apprenticeship. And so, yeah, none of those are a bad option if that's what you want to do. It's really neat to see. That's one of the ways I take a lot of pride in that, as far as students being interested in it, not just as a class, but as a career.
Now, do they all come to you with that interest in mind, or they're just like, okay, I got to take something, so I'm going to take welding. I think I like sparks, so let's do this. And
both, for sure. Some walk in the door. It's their passion. They, swear to me with everything that they're going to go into welding and be the best welder there was. And I've had other kids very bluntly tell me, I'm just here because no other class is open, and I'm like, all right, this is going to be an uphill battle, but we take people of all shapes and sizes and interests. As far as the transformation in interests, I don't know if I've been there long enough to see that yet. Once I start having younger students, so when I start having freshmen come in my classroom and then get to kind of walk with them, I think we'll see a lot more.
Do you have the space in that short period of time to have other conversations with students in addition to just, here's the subject matter? My husband's a teacher, so that's why I ask this, because I think those are moments that he really relishes, like talking to students about things other than just the class itself, if that makes sense. Like giving them maybe that extra ear or whatever they might need to just not have, I know they're with parents, right? They're with, they're in a home, it's a residential program, but just to have that other adult who cares.
Absolutely. That's really why I'm there, right? It's not, welding is a vehicle for students to learn how to solve problems and learn how to handle life and do life. And so, yes, have had a lot of conversations outside the classroom with students who are just going through it. Life ain't easy. And especially at Milton Hershey, what I tell people so often is no one comes to Milton Hershey School without a story. And everybody's story is different. We all have a story, but these kids have been through a lot and seen a lot of life, generally, more than most people their age. Working through some of that with them is, some of the most, like you're saying, some of the most rewarding times of my job. So, I love that piece of it. Have gotten to sit and cry with at least 4 students that I can think of. So if you're a student listening to this, you're not alone. If you're a crier, but and I love being able to go there with students and kind of this older brother role. I'm not quite old enough to be this wise sage father figure, but just being there for them and being at the right place at the right time. Yeah. Super, super rewarding. And it's not really about that. It's, building these kids up and helping them see, I guess, what life can be for them. We want to meet kids where they are, but not leave them where they are. I think I saw some other questions about this too, as far as teaching philosophy, but I don't just want students to be able to weld. I want them to be able to tackle the world and handle what's going to come afterward.
What shaped that in you? Teachers, mentors?
I would say God and the gospel shaped that in me. There's a passage in scripture where Jesus refers to being like a shepherd. And if he has 100 sheep and one gets lost, he's going to leave the 99 to go after the one and bring them back into the fold. Me having been that one at one point in life, I can't have any other response than to be that, to follow in those footsteps. To answer your question, there are, well, that does answer your question, but more at your question, there have been a lot of people who have kind of fed that in me and mentors. The root cause of it all is just knowing why I exist and why I was created and having a strong sense of mission in that. Seeing how God and others have done that for me allows me to just have an infinite stockpile of patience. Well, practically infinite patience doesn't exist, but in theory, right? Immediate counterexamples come to mind when I say that, right? but just I have such a depth of grace to pull from to give out to others because it's been shown to me. So, yeah. Somewhere in my between junior and senior year of high school, I think it really started to solidify for me. I realized I'd been collecting trophies and, being competitive at school and in music, and I was wasting my time because I was missing the other people around me. And I thought, why am I just collecting my own accolades when there are so many other people here that matter, way more than this?
You mentioned music.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this fantastic photo of you. It's this great photo of you in the welding labs, the OG labs, the bays. Sparks are flying all over around you, and you've got the saxophone going.
Yeah, that was fun.
What precipitated that?
I did not initiate that. I don't think I said, hey, I want to play my saxophone.
I feel like Cindy. That's a Cindy. Let's have him go into the lab with, combine these two pieces. Take the sax. That just sounds like Cindy.
that's probably accurate. I just got to try out the Meixel special in the Bookmarks Cafe this morning.
What's this?
There is a special drink named
found
after
out
Cindy.
about it.
What is it? Please tell.
I think it's half caramel, half French vanilla, maybe, or something like the coffee.
Whoa!
I'm not
is it
sure.
On the menu as the Meixel special?
I don't think so. It might be a secret menu.
Only for podcast listeners.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out.
Okay.
You heard it here.
It's a cappuccino?
I don't know
hot?
enough. It's hot. Yeah.
Oh, it's hot. Okay.
I'm no coffee connoisseur.
Do you order it by that name?
I believe so. I think that's kind of par for the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So listeners, go over to Bookmarks in the library and flood them with the request for the Mikesell special.
Because we love Cindy,
That's
and she's
right.
going to listen to this.
Right.
It'll make her
Yeah.
so happy.
Oh, there you go. So I think that's probably right. That was probably a Cindy idea. I don't remember. I used to play with the Lycoming College wind ensemble and concert band, and there was actually a saxophone quartet for a few years that started out of Lycoming College, and that was a ton of fun. But yeah, somewhere in there, someone here found out I played saxophone and decided to do a little mashup there. That was neat.
Talk about that a little bit. So as a Penn College student, you're allowed to participate in extracurriculars at, and I don't know how far that goes, but at least band.
Mhm.
Is it band?
I was in
Or
band.
is it called?
Yeah.
Okay. At Lycoming College.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure what the official rules are or details with that. There are agreements where you can get credit for going over there and taking classes, like ones that aren't offered here. You can go like a foreign language, for example. I think.
Other students have done this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we have students here that go over, I think, to the theater and
Okay.
to the band and
That would-
orchestra.
yeah.
I'm not
and
sure
Lycoming
which it goes
College
there.
is just down the road from us. So it's a really nice partnership that way.
Right. I'm sure you see a little more of that with like the pep band now too. There's a little more music in the air here than when I
Or
came,
just
but-
starting things after you leave.
Yeah, that's how it is. But I chose not to actually do it for credit because I just wanted to have fun and didn't want to kind of lock myself in there. And also there were other art classes here that I was interested in taking. That was just kind of for fun at night.
So all these trophies are from playing the sax?
Well, I guess when I say trophies, I'm maybe not physical trophies. Some of those too, but more so just achievements.
Okay.
When I say collecting trophies, I just mean patting myself on the back and succeeding, whether or not it's at the expense of other people, right? And just kind of pursuing excellence for its own sake, which really isn't always worth it. I did get to use music as a cool instrument, no pun intended, to have a positive effect on some people's lives in high school. And that was neat. Just some stories of not mentoring, but being there for younger students it was like their first time at, district band or state band, and kind of taking them under my wing.
Does music come out in your current job? Like, are you able to play at all or no?
Well, no, yes, occasionally.
You start every morning with the 8 in the bays, just sax going away.
Not saxophone often. I have jammed with there's a band called the Modern Band at Milton Hershey. They play some more like rock music, things like that. And I've gotten to jam with them only twice now. I guess once life settles down, I'll probably get into more of a rhythm with that.
With the sax or another instrument?
With the saxophone,
Okay.
with them. In the shop, I keep a small flute in one of my desk drawers, and usually it's in between classes. I'll just, if I need to de-stress a little bit, I'll just break it out, and there will be some ethereal music.
Of every instrument to use to de-stress, the flute isn't the one that comes to mind.
Well,
Thinking like of a drum, like more of a.
Oh, well,
no.
yeah. I mean, it's just for fun.
Okay.
I find that it's really relaxing. Just, I guess it uses a different side of the brain or something.
No, that's
if I just
great.
did a lot of talking, I'll just break it out and play a couple notes and go back to planning for the next.
Are students
period,
like, what the heck? I've never seen an instructor do this before.
Probably, yeah. They're pretty accommodating. No, they like it. If the students are really well behaved and they're on top of their cleanup, and I don't have to be policing that, then I'll sometimes play a few notes.
So it sounds like you've taught your students a lot. What have they taught you?
One of the main things that I think of with this is maybe not so much teaching, but reminding me how cool some of the stuff we do in welding actually is. When you've done it in industry and learned it years ago in college, it can kind of get old after a while. And seeing some of the things through the eyes of students kind of reminds me, oh, this is actually like we're harnessing the power of lightning in our hands to raise steel to somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 degrees. And no one else on campus is doing that, So it's seeing it through their eyes and being reminded of the first time that I welded and kind of going back to that and remembering my audience. And if I get disconnected from that, the students will remind me quick. They'll just kind of glaze over and like, this doesn't matter to us. Like we're beginners. So yeah, it's really cool to see things through their eyes.
Yeah, nice. And how do you stay motivated?
I think the students for sure. And remembering really, Summer, what happens is I'll get caught up in maybe discouraged with the nuts and bolts usually is like, did my students learn this today? Am I succeeding as a teacher, or is everything just getting lost on them? Like what impact am I having? And I'm usually thinking about the content or the real mechanics of my job. And when I remember, you know what? No, I'm dealing with real people here who matter so much. That's why I'm doing this. Like it's not how much we get through today. It's not what content the students absorbed as much as, do they know that I love them and care about them? Do they feel valued? Are they proud of themselves? And so I think that's really what takes me back to the first principles with which I'm coming into it. So when I remember that, I'm back. I'm back at it. I have a high degree of admiration for my students. Like I mentioned earlier, they've done more in life, and I would say maybe more has been asked of them than me when I was their age. And some of these kids started raising their younger siblings when they were 12. Seeing the resilience of my students gives me a lot of respect for them. I think having that view kind of shapes how I come into the classroom and approach them. And yeah, a lot of admiration there, a lot of respect. And I don't always show it. You know, I gotta pull back the curtain every once in a while. But
were you one of those teachers that felt like you had to? There's this, philosophy with teachers, like the first couple of weeks I have to come in, I have to be really tough, and I have to like not let them, get the better of me, and just be like real strict. And then after the 3 weeks is up and you've established yourself as this, I'm not gonna take anything, and then you're like, okay, I can relax.
Yeah, that's funny you asked that. In theory, I think I'm better at that than I actually am. It's hard for me to be just overlord of the classroom. I do though. Like I think that's important that there is a level of seriousness and respect for even things like safety. If you're going to be a goofball and come into my welding shop, I don't want you endangering yourself or others. I've had to turn kids away who, maybe I had a bad experience with in the past because it was a safety risk, right? If they wanted to come back for another class, like, let's pump the brakes on that one because, we've got other students who want that spot. And so there was a kid who all excited, telling me, "Oh, Mr. Lyon, like I'm taking your class next semester." And I had some background knowledge of him, just, not a bad kid, just a little squirrely. And I said, "Hey man, like, you better shape up if you want to be part of the welding program. Like it's a no nonsense attitude, right?" And there's a little bit of the intimidation factor there, right? You can't be too soft with him. But he was like, "Oh man, like he didn't expect that response from me." And then just a couple last week or the week before, I saw him walking across campus, and Mr. Lyon, like, I'm ready for welding. Like I got, I guess he made the attitude changes necessary or something. But I do think it's important to make sure students, do have a level of respect for what they're going to be doing.
Any advice for someone considering a career in welding? What makes a good welder?
There's many levels of being a good welder. You can be someone who makes good welds, and that'll get you a paycheck of some variety. The advice I would give, though, is more angled at things that the industry is missing rather than the things it already has, and you just have to be better at them to get on top, right? Industry is missing people who care about other people. I shouldn't say missing. There are a lot of awesome guys out there, awesome welders who have gotten to work
and girls.
With. And girls, that's right. I'd be remiss. But I think there's a deficit in people who are humble and care about the people around them. And if you're someone who can weld and do those things, then you're really in a position to name your price, especially after you start coming in and showing up every day, and you're not lazy, you're not on your phone all the time, and you really seek the good of the people around you. You're going to be rising to the top quick. And ask good questions, right? Always be inquisitive. You don't have to know everything. Like, no one expects you to know everything. But if you learn to ask the right people and know where to find the information, then you're setting yourself up for success in all dimensions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Check out our show notes for bookmarks to your favorite sections and links to resources that we mentioned in today's episode.
You can also find past episodes and see what's on deck for upcoming ones at pct.edu/podcast.
And of course, we are open to your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, so send those over at podcast@pct.edu.
It's been real.
Catch you next time.
Right now, I wish we had a video because I don't know if you saw that. The tree is like flowing and all these birds just came right over your head. Now we're getting very mystical.
You got
but
the
I'm just
sun
like, this
over your
is
shoulder.
beautiful.
There's the glow.
Like, it's just such
Yeah,
a nice
in this-
backdrop. I
in this
lost track of the
silent
question.
moment.
I lost track of the answer. It's just like so pretty. Also, I think I asked him that question.